what Kubernetes clusters look like based on this open telemetry data. So we can see that you're sending us stuff from Kubernetes, and we can just be like, hey, here's some stuff you're probably interested in, right? And we make it easy for you to get started by giving you these configs and giving you Helm charts and documentation and all of that. And it's really about how do we make a nice, smooth ramp to get you into this experience. But it's built on what we already have and the stuff that we get from OpenTelemetry in terms of semantic inventions and so on and so forth. And I think that is a model that you'll see kind of get repeated. So things like observability for AI and large language models and training models and stuff like that. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be OpenTelemetry data. It's going to be OpenTelemetry semantic inventions. There's a PR open right now to add in metadata, like semantic convention metadata for large language models. Because if you're a developer and your boss comes to you and says, all right, we got to have a Gen AI story, so we're going to build a chatbot, and you're just blindly sending things into, Claude or GPT or whatever, and getting responses back, then you don't know what's going on back there. You need observability to help you understand how is the responses from the model actually, like, are people happy with this?
And more importantly, how is it impacting your customers?
Yeah, like, are people actually happy with the responses? Like, what do the prompts look like, right? Like, are we actually achieving some kind of goal here? And you can do that with OpenTelemetry. I mean, you can do a lot of it today, right? We're just trying to make it standardized. We're trying to make it so that you don't have to build this stuff yourself. You just kind of get it for free.
But you said semantic conventions, so a lot of folks don't really understand what those are. So you can just briefly talk a little bit about what the semantic conventions do.
So the idea with semantic conventions is that any piece of telemetry, right, in OpenTelemetry, you've got a log statement, a single, counter going up, a span of time in a trace. There's things that you want to know, metadata you want to attach to that. You want to say, like, what was the IP address of the host that this happened on? What was the user agent of the browser that made an incoming request? What was the, CPU architecture of this Lambda? Was it x86? Was it ARM? And what OpenTelemetry is doing is we're creating a specification that says how those should be represented in any language, in any cloud, any runtime. And that means when you use OpenTelemetry data, you're getting the same attribute. You're going to have this consistent and standard metadata regardless of where you're running it, regardless of what architecture you're running it on, regardless of what cloud. And that saves you a lot of time, both in understanding the telemetry, because the stuff you get out of AWS or Azure or GCP or Equinix or whatever is going to look exactly the same in terms of what's on there. And it also means that you can do things like your alerts, right? Your alerts are going to be on the same kind of conditions, and they're going to be looking for the same sort of things because the semantics of all your telemetry is the same from observability tool to observability tool to observability tool.
And it solves some simple things like a developer in Python wants everything to be state case with underscores between the words, and then Java developers want to do camel case where it's capital letter, rest of the word capital letter.
Yeah.
But semantic conventions kind of flatten it all and be like, we're all going to use this standard so that when I go search for the host name, I know what I'm looking for and I'm going to get the same thing from all the different stacks.
And the other nice thing is because in your language SDK, we try to be really idiomatic and say well, this should look like something a Java dev would expect. But then when it comes out the other side, it is coerced into the standard format. So you as the dev get to do things you're comfortable with. You're not having to learn completely new lexicons. And then from a visualization and sort of an operationalizing side, it's the same between all these different tools. It gives you a shared language, right? I think this is one, to be philosophical for a moment, one of the biggest problems in observability is actually a linguistic one. It's getting everyone to agree what the meaning of words are, right?
I've been in those arguments.